This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Landmark College, offering comprehensive support for students with learning disabilities, ADHD, and ASD. Learn more at lcdistraction.org. Landmark College, we teach differently. Hi, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell for the podcast Distraction. Right now, we're going to bring you a mini podcast. I know you all love our mini podcast. It's a wonderful one. We are really lucky to have with us Dr. Sara Lazar, who's a neuroscientist, PhD at Mass General and Harvard Medical School. And she did an amazing study that really will blow you away. I mean, meditation, everyone says, oh, yes, meditation is great. Well, she sat down and proved that meditation can actually increase the gray matter in 50-year-old meditators. But let me shut up and let Sara explain this wonderful finding that should have us all rushing out to start meditating.
So yes, we did a study where we looked at how meditation could change brain structure and function. And so what we did is we recruited people who had never meditated before, and some of them were about to go through a meditation program, and the other ones were going to go through it in the near future, but not right then. And so we scanned them before they went through the class, and then after they went through the class.
What kind of a scan?
An MRI scan.
Uh-huh.
And then the controls, we just scanned them 8 weeks apart. And then after that, they went into the meditation class. And what we found is that relative to the control group, that the meditation group had specific changes in several brain regions that are important for emotion regulation and mood.
And which regions were those?
Right. The primary region we found was a region called the PCC, which is actually a region that's important for mind wandering. It's the main region that's destroyed in Alzheimer's disease, which is called the posterior cingulate. And so that was one region. And then another region is the hippocampus, which is important for learning and memory. Mm-hmm. And then also down in the brainstem, we found a region that is the area where a lot of the neurotransmitters are produced. And so, and the change in this region correlated with changes in well-being. So the more this area got bigger, the more well-being people reported. And so we think that this is related to changes in how neurotransmitters are regulated.
What region was that?
It's just part of the brainstem called the pons in that general area. And then the last thing we found was that the amygdala, which is the main fight or flight part of the brain, that actually became smaller, and that changed. The change in that correlated with the change in stress. So the more stress reduction people reported, the smaller their amygdala became.
Wow. Now, this is amazing. This really is. And how old were these subjects?
Middle-aged. So I think it was like 25 to 50.
Okay. And what form of meditation did they all practice?
Right. Everyone went through a program called mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR for short. And this is an 8-week program which was developed by John Kabat-Zinn, and it's mindfulness meditation, which is a form of Buddhist meditation.
Uh-huh. And how long does it take each day?
Well, they were told to practice 40 minutes a day. On average, they practice about half an hour a day. And we know from not just this study, but many other studies, that some people really do practice 40 minutes every day. Some people practice 5 or 10 minutes a day. Some people practice 40 minutes a couple times a week. Some people, only practice 20 or 30 minutes. So it averages out, to about 30 minutes a day. So most people did indeed practice 40 minutes, most days of the week.
So 30 minutes a day for 8 weeks?
Oh, it was average, yeah.
Okay. And it's standard meditation. You sit quietly and close your eyes and focus
on the breath.
Focus on your breathing. Okay.
Uh-huh.
You might be listening to quiet music. You might not be.
Right.
And you try to just allow your thoughts to float by without evaluating them.
Correct.
Okay, and that's it. Half an hour.
Well, yeah. Well, so mindfulness, basically that's it. The key thing is, like listening to the music or watching your thoughts, is that it's real easy to just get lost in thought and you are spaced out. And so you really want to make sure you're paying attention to the present moment. So if you're following the breath, you're really paying attention to the breath and not kind of sort of planning your day and kind of sort of watching your breath. Like you're really just watching your breath. And if you're listening to music, really being in the music and not just like daydreaming while the music's on in the background.
Right, and for most of us, like me, it's not easy not to get lost in your thoughts. So
exactly, but that's what the practice is all about.
Yes,
and then that's really when it happens is when you realize, oh, I'm lost in thought, and then you go back to what it is you're supposed to be paying attention to, and that's going to happen. Even people who've been doing it many years, they get lost in thought occasionally, but typically those periods get shorter and less frequent. So definitely it's something that develops slowly over time.
Now, is it legitimate to do 3 10-minute sessions a day, or do you really need the 30-minute session?
Well, there hasn't really good data on that yet. Okay. I think, there's benefits to both. And, some people find that, longer sessions allow them to get more quiet and deeper, versus more frequent sessions is good for helping bring it throughout your day. So what I always tell people is what works for you, because what works for you may not be what works for me or works for the person down the hall from you. So you really have to figure out what fits your lifestyle and what feels good for you.
Sara, this is just spectacular that 30 minutes a day for 8 weeks you are growing regions of your brain, more gray matter, 3 critical regions, and then you're reducing the size of that amygdala. So you're reducing stress, you're increasing feelings of well-being, you're increasing your capacity to concentrate, and you're reducing your risk of Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
That's incredible, and it's free. You just sit there and meditate for half an hour, which is good for you anyway, and you get these amazing benefits.
Yes.
Oh, this is fantastic. Now, if people want to learn more, do you have a website or a book, or how can they reach you?
Well, I do have a website. There's not a lot of information about how to meditate there. There's some links, but what the website says is, these days you can just look on the web and just, type your area, the name of your town or your city, and, meditation or yoga, and you can easily find, a list of local places. There's a bunch of apps now to help people get started, many books. Do you have a favorite app? My favorite is Calm. Do you have one that you like best? No, I actually don't use an app, but I've heard Calm is really good. I've heard good things about Calm. I've heard really good things about Headspace, but that requires a subscription.
Yep.
There's also like a meditation timer is another one.
Yep.
But that's just, a timer basically with a nice bell at the end. But there's a social component to it, so you can see who else is logged in, and you can track how much you practice and whatnot. So there's a lot of apps like that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you're an extremely talented researcher and articulate spokeswoman, and can't thank you enough for giving our listeners this wonderful tip on how we should all just rush out and start doing it.
That would be lovely.
Okay, thank you, Sara, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care. Distraction is produced by Collisions, the podcast division of CRN International. Collisions, podcasts for curious people. Our music was created by Mark Berman. Our audio engineer is Scott Person, and our producer is Sara Gurton.